I was packing up to leave, and it started banging in the upstairs because it would do this. It would just boom, boom, boom. And I got to tell you, Dave, I just went off. And I went to the stairs and I started yelling up the stairs. I'm like, you are going to stop this. You are going to let me get my things out of here. You are going to let me get my kids out of here, because if you don't, I am going to find a way to make you burn in hell forever. That's exactly what I said.
Yeah,
and there you go. If I made one mistake, I challenged it. And there you go. I think that's why.
Wow.
I really do.
That's the way to do. A lot of times people scream out God, or they go smoke the house with sage.
Right.
Did you ever do any of that kind of stuff?
Well, of course. Later on, as you're learning and stepping into all of this, you start gathering all this knowledge. You'll try anything. My house gets saged in Palo Santo every month now. Back then I didn't know. That's the thing about me, is I really don't have answers for it.
No.
I can tell you what these things do. I can tell you what maybe I think these things are. But the truth of the matter is I went out looking for answers to what happened and what was going on with us. And it just raised more questions and opened more doors, Right. That's the second part of your question.
Yeah, that's second. What we talked about earlier pre-show was that we really don't know what angels, ghosts,
right,
extraterrestrials, dimensional beings, who are they? Are they all the same? They're all extraterrestrial. Actually, they come in and out of our dimension. And I think that's what your ghost did, Stephen. It would come in maybe through a portal that you didn't see, and it would come and visit for a while, and probably leave at a certain time of day or whatever. Who knows what they really are? I mean, we know that they're kind of like residual energy left over from that captain that you're talking about. Maybe it was
I would go even further to say that they're more intelligent than us. I really would. And I go back. A good friend of mine years ago, who's no longer with us, I wish she was Rosemary Alagaila. Rosemary, if you know anything about her, she was one of our great researchers in paranormal, numerous books and stuff. And I sat down and we were talking one time, and I asked her, I said, well, what do you think? What do you think? And she said, you know what, Stephen, I think that all of these things are connected with a singular thread of commonality. And if we can figure out that connection, we're going to see that these things aren't different from each other at all. And then later in research, she got into some of the things that I have been led to, looking at different sort of beings. And are these things one thing that comes to us imposters as something else? Is this one thing we're dealing with? Is this one kind of energy we're dealing with, and it's just able to break off and do different things? So that's an interesting point.
Yeah,
but I don't have an answer for you.
Yeah.
The Catholic Church, I'll tell you, the Catholic Church did a 156-page report on the screaming house. You can read that on my website at stephenlachance.com if you want to. They called it a demonic infestation. They called it a demonic obsession, oppression, and possession. Infestation too. I don't know if I could tell you that it was demonic. I remember the first time I read the report, I called my mom and I said, this is what they said. And my mom goes, well, you got to kind of keep in mind, son, that, that's one person's point of view, even if it is the church.
Yeah, right.
This was one of the church's demonologists, wrote this.
It's like I tell everybody, nobody's really an expert. Nobody really knows the answers. And you made a comment, Stephen, a while ago that I never heard before from ghosts or people experiencing ghosts. You said they're intelligent. And so that we never thought of it that way. I guess a lot of the ghost hunters I've talked to never thought that they're intelligent. What did you mean by that, Stephen? How did you?
I think they're thinking things. I think they think. I think they know what they're doing. I think they know how we're going to react to what they're doing and how it works. I think the problem is, you talk about ghost hunters and ghost researchers. I think the problem is, and I know you've probably seen me talk about this before, or seen me write about this before, is that as ghost paranormal investigators, a lot of times we are sitting there just observing, you know.
Mhm.
We don't realize that we live in a living world, and these things aren't necessarily, you know, if you're taking this idea that these are residual and dead, you're missing a whole nother bigger picture to this. And that is that we live in a life of all these things that are coexisting with us at the same time, and they react to us and come in and out of our lives in different ways. Some of us get to see them, some of us get to experience them, but then there's some of us that don't. There's some of us that get to experience it, and we don't know what it was we experienced, but we know we experienced something.